Hello guys, welcome to the channel again, and today we're looking at the Genesis Gv80, and this is the top of the line Genesis Gv80, the 3.5 turbo four-wheel drive, and it's owned by my buddy Jay. He was kind enough to let me borrow, and so I'm just gonna do a walk around so you have a good idea of what it looks like from the outside, and we'll go inside. So this is the front fascia. um, this is a 2022 model, top of the line, with all the bells and whistles, as you can imagine. So right here, I'll just pop the trunk. There's a hold button here, and you see the animation pops in. You can close the trunk from there as well. Over here you have the lock and the close button for the trunk. In the back, there's a chair release for the 5-seater. That's an option for a 7-seater, but he deleted that option when he got it. Went with this beautiful, I would say, cream interior, which I love. And there's LEDs at the back here, and some ISOFIX points in the corner, as well as your full weather mat protection. So we'll go back out. I'll close the trunk again, and we'll step in for a quick drive. So I've been driving for about 15 minutes from Airdrie all the way here to Calgary, and I can tell you the vehicle is quiet. It's one of the most quiet vehicles I've ever driven. I can't say I've driven a whole lot of vehicles, but I've driven quite some number of vehicles, and I tell you, this is a very comfortable car to be in. So I left it in sport mode just to show the animation. If it translates through the camera, it's quite nice. But also the nice thing about this vehicle is that when you put it in sport mode, the bolstering on the seats, so beside the driver's back on the side of your rib cage, closes in on you, which I find to be a very, very neat feature. You know, as soon as you put it in sport mode, it just clamps you like a clamshell and hugs you into the seat, ready for acceleration. And by no stretch of the imagination is this a dedicated sports car, but it definitely has some grunt to the 3.5 turbo. And I'm not pushing the vehicle because this is my buddy's car. It's relatively new. It's 4,419 kilometers on the odometer, so relatively a new vehicle. We're not gonna be pushing it. That's not why we're driving it today, but just to have an idea of what it feels like to, be in a vehicle like this. Mind you, this is supposed to be competing with some of the luxury high-end vehicles like the BMW X5 and the Mercedes GLE 450 or 430, depending on who you talk to. But still, it's pulling its weight quite well, I would say. I've been on some of those vehicles, and I can say the build quality in here is comparable, if not in some aspects superior, I might argue, and that's debatable to anybody. But for the price point, you're getting in 30,000 to 20 to 30,000 less than the entry level of the competitor. I'm talking about the X5 and the GLE. This is $30,000 less. Be it in Canadian or US dollars, it's relatively the same. So you're entering into this luxury category, 3D animation, which is optional in most of the competitors. You have this large infotainment touchscreen there, it's 14-inch plus, I believe, which the competition probably doesn't even offer. But Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, granted it's not wireless, you have to pay for that with the competition. Panel moonroof, two-tier panoramic panel moonroof. I always find it difficult to pronounce that word, pardon me. I'm sure I'm not the only one who finds it difficult to say that word. But you get the idea. Suede not even suede, like premium suede material. Alcantara, it's called. Over here, LED finishes, nice finish here, real black wood or optional black wood in this trim. Luxury napper or whatever this leather is called, I can't even remember the name, but it's very plush, very plush. You're not missing out on a lot of performance. Say you're going for the GLE or the GLE 63 AMG S or whatever you want to spec your GLE for. Granted, you're going to be paying $30,000 to $50,000 more than you pay for something like this. And are you going to be pushing this every day? I guarantee not. Are you going to be driving it like a a-hole? Guarantee not. So, what do you get? You get a whole lot of car for a whole lot of less money. So you're getting value for your money in this vehicle, I would argue. And you have the indicator signal that shows you what's your blind spot monitoring, which is also a neat feature here. I'm not sure if the competition has that. You have adaptive cruise control, which is one of the better cruise control system in the industry. Everyone in the auto industry agrees to that. It's not intrusive, it's non-invasive, it's very smooth in the way it transitions from manual to automatic adaptive cruise control. So I can't say enough good things about this car in my first drive and first impression of the vehicle. That being said, I'll need to spend a little more time later on the vehicle to have a bit more of a critical review on the car. But first impression, beautiful. You have good visibility around. You have those cutouts around the side mirror that gives you a bit more space to look out of. You have the rear view mirror that's very good to see through, and if I might say, the rear glass is wide enough to see what's behind you. And yeah, good. Here you have your climate control system, and it's touch sensitive, and you have some hard buttons around, but the main climate control unit area has a haptic feedback touch sensitive area, which is like an LED screen, so that is nice. Then you have these dials that have a nice knurled finish around and feels quite nice to the touch. So yeah, and as you hear that, that's letting me know there's a vehicle coming on my right. It vibrates the steering in case I'm not paying attention. So that is also an added safety feature. And so I'm just gonna wait for the car beside me, or rather still. I'm in sport mode, so that's a bit of a grunt. I will be taking it back to comfort, but that gives you an idea of how much torque you can get out of this engine. And there goes the fiery animation on the 3D gauge cluster. I hope it translates, like I said, but if it doesn't, we will switch back to comfort, which is this vehicle does not have adaptive cruise control, adaptive suspension, sorry, not cruise control. The adaptive suspension, it has adaptive dampers, but not the suspension. So the suspension doesn't really change, but the dampers do, so it affects the feel of the drive, not necessarily the drive quality, if that makes sense. But it's enough to make you feel a bit more settled in. So my impressions on the drive so far. I don't know if a lot of people get a sense of an idea of a vehicle before you drive it. Like, say you look at an Aston Martin DB7 or something, or Lamborghini. When you look at the car visually, you expect to have a firm ride. You expect a certain kind of driving dynamics. Even before you drive the car, you just anticipate the car to feel a certain way. And then you get into the car and you drive it and it feels like you expect. I would say for this vehicle, it's the same. The expectations I had before I sat in the vehicle, from just looking at the vehicle and feeling and looking at all the touch points, just looking at it and then getting into the vehicle and driving, I am not disappointed. And I don't think anyone who's gonna be looking to buy, test driving, or trying to get into one of these, especially this 3.5 turbo, I don't think anyone would be disappointed when they get into the vehicle to drive it. Like I said, when you anticipate something and the reality of what you anticipate is the way it feels, it's an added bonus, and it's a testament to the engineering behind this vehicle. I will put it in sport mode just so we can maybe use the paddle shifters and see how many gears we have. So far we're not gonna go into any high gear. I'm in 3 now. There's paddle shifters behind the steering. We can go to 4, we can go to 5, 6, 7, and it's an 8-speed. So on the gauge cluster there, we see that's an 8-speed. Maybe when we get on the highway here, we'll be able to see the gearing. But it's a nice ratio to the gearing. Right now we're on 5. We're cruising under 2,000 RPM. When we turn off here, I'm gonna go down to 4. We're just about 2,000 RPM. But I'm gonna kick down to 3,000, gear 3, and push this vehicle just a little for a second, so we have an idea of when we take manual control. And I'm sure the computer is able to calibrate that even without me manually controlling it. So when 4, we're doing 80, we're just over 2,800 RPM. So I'm gonna kick down to 3, and so quickly we're at 120. We go to 5, 6, and we're at 7, and we're at 8, and it drops down to below 2,000 RPM. So the shift, is it dual clutch, lightning, fast shifting? No. But if I kick down again, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and you see that 4, 5, 6, quick enough for anybody who wants to use the sport mode to their advantage in trying to get up to speed, or in trying to do whatever they want to do. So I'm just gonna keep it in cruise control at 110, which is where logically between 100 and 110 within the limits. But just wanted to demonstrate how easy it is to get up to speed in this vehicle if you choose to go with the sport mode. That being said, infotainment, the touchscreen is ways away there, intentionally done by design, so you're not fiddling around. Most of what you need, you can use the dial control over here to control. I can use the knob here to go or exit my navigation system. I can fiddle around the menu using the knob, and so you can do that while you're driving and your eyes aren't off the road as often, or you can physically touch it, which is also a nice option to have. I know the Mazda CX-90, which just came out, which would also likely be a competitor to this, although it's a class below, has a similar display that's optional touchscreen when you're on Android Auto, and the setup is a bit cumbersome if you ask me, but I like that this is an optional touchscreen when you choose to use it, and when you don't, you have the option of using the touch controls here. So with that being said, this 3D display here is quite nice to look at. It's customized, semi-customizable with all the display. Currently we have our cruise control buttons on this side, we have our infotainment, so music and infotainment on this side. The steering has a nice feel to it. It's not too thick, it's not too narrow, it's not too small as well. For the size of the vehicle, is the right size. What else? The window control over here has the same neural finish to the gear knob. Nice touch. The speaker grill looks nice. Everything looks and feels premium, almost high-end luxury, but premium that you'll not be missing out. I like this venting, which is a nice strip across here. It's not a full vent unit across, but it gives you that impression, which is also nice. You can customize the way you want the wind or the fan to blow towards you. You can increase or decrease fan speeds on this side, which currently, and then you can have the AC on, which is currently on because it is quite hot. Currently 19 degrees, not super hot, but hot enough to. So we also have heated and ventilated seats. I might add, I just turned on the ventilated seats, and it is an experience, I would say. I had an MDX which also had a ventilated seat, but this vehicle also ventilates the back area, so not just the bottom. Your back is also cooled off a bit more, and on a hot day, I can tell you that is definitely a bonus. It has a tri-zone climate control in this particular build. Like I say, fully optioned out, dual zone in the front and a single zone in the rear area, which I will show you when I park the vehicle. But overall, the ambiance is quite nice. Nice is an understatement, but not to get super excited. It's a tilt and telescopic steering wheel, so I can bring the steering wheel forward, as you can see, and it's a 2-position memory seat that's customized to the sitting and the steering position. So that's also a plus. It's a premium feature in most premium vehicles, so to have that at this price point is also nice, where you can memory set your sitting position with the steering wheel and everything. I feel like that's important to have. Quiet drive so far. So my impressions of the vehicle is that it is what you expect to get for the money, and you will not be disappointed. The leather and the seating, you have a lumbar support as well, which a thigh extension, which I'm extending as you can see over on the screen, and that is a nice to have. For people with longer legs, it's always good to have that thigh extension. So finally, to conclude on our quick drive with this POV drive here, it is, I'm just going to turn off the cruise control and carry on. It is what you would expect and more. This is a low mileage example of this vehicle, but it feels like a new vehicle. It feels like a premium vehicle. It drives like one, with the exception of adaptive suspension or air suspension. You have all the other good stuff you need. As far as the driving feel, it's not stiff. It's not a stiff ride. I'm in a lower sitting position. I love the sitting position. I love that you can take the chair all the way back, because I have a little bit of a long leg. I'm 5'11", but I have a longer leg than the average 5'11". So having this type of adjustability in the seating is something I know a lot of taller drivers or even shorter drivers will appreciate in a vehicle like this, because you can find the most comfortable sitting position you want. So in conclusion, driving this vehicle was a pleasure. Thanks, Jay, for letting us have this experience. I can't say more good things about the drive. I would encourage anyone to go test drive it, see how they like it. And I also encourage you guys to leave a comment in the comment sections below, letting me know what you think about the review, if you have this vehicle, if you like it, what you like, what you don't like, and what you would like to see improved or not. And also like, share, comment, leave constructive feedback. Constructive feedbacks are welcomed, and share your thoughts on any other vehicle you may want to see on the channel, or you may want me to review in the near future. Hopefully I can get to work and get that coming in the near future. But it was an enjoyable experience with the Gv80, and hopefully I'll hear your comments and thoughts in the comment section. And until the next drive, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you guys on the next one.